Temperature 142.9er, altimeter 3011. GPS approach runway 16 in use. NOTAMs, the NDB is out of service. Personnel and equipment working left to approach in runway 16. Approach in runway 16 has non-standard runway markings. Advise you have Tango.
Okay, you can push that flip-flop button again.
Alright.
And it should say 24/7 in the active window.
Roger that.
Go ahead and load 22.9 in the standby window for me. That'll be Unicom when we get up north of the bridge here.
Gotcha.
Okay, normally I would be having you taxi the airplane, but I'm going to have you start taxiing it now. We use about 8 or 900 RPM. Your tack gauge is there above your left hand. So put your feet on the rudder pedals and your hand on the stick.
Yep.
And you have the airplane.
I got the airplane.
Go ahead and give me a hard right turn by mashing on that right rudder. You'll see the airplane responds rather nicely with water rudders. Now let's just go all the way around. Just mash on it.
Okay.
And sort of kind of make note how fast the airplane's turning. You'll notice it turns fairly fast.
And pretty tight.
To the right. With the water rudders, it's very maneuverable. Here's our wake. We're literally going to
go over it.
Go over our wake, and it really didn't get even much farther outside of our wingtip, right?
Right.
But now, and you see these big radio towers way out in the distance. Aim right at those.
Okay.
Okay, go straight for a second. Now I want you to do the same turn to the left.
Okay.
You'll find the airplane turns even faster to the left because of torque.
Yeah.
And P-factor and gyroscopic precision, etc., etc. Let's keep about 900 RPM, please. There you go. Now, the other thing I always like to teach, the fastest way to turn a seaplane around is...
1509, contact Seattle, departure 123.9er. Good morning.
Go ahead. Turn that volume on the radio down. It's going to interfere with us here too much. Just go ahead and pick up that heading towards those big water radio towers again. The fastest way to turn a seaplane around is to let it weathercock or weather vane. So what I want you to do is pull the throttle completely to idle and reach down and pull the water rudders up. It's on your right side. And we're basically going to let go of the airplane and watch what happens. Look how fast it starts turning.
Oh, yeah.
The wind, even with just there's 3 or 4 knots out here, maybe 5.
That's fast.
It spins right around.
Yeah.
If you're ever in doubt in a float plane as to which way the wind is blowing, pull the water rudders up, neutralize your feet, and let the airplane tell you. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to overshoot the wind a little bit because of momentum.
And now we're going to start drifting.
It'll drift back a little bit more to the right.
Okay.
And after a few oscillations, it'll settle down as to what the wind is.
Okay.
It's going to overshoot rather badly here.
1.5 minutes delay on the wake turbine.
But you get the idea that if you need to turn really tight in a downwind situation, if you need to turn upwind, the fastest way is just pull the water rudders up and it'll wheel right around.
Uh-huh.
Beaver 2 engine ground reposition.
All right, go ahead and put the water rudders back down. And either left or right, back around. What we're going to do is taxi back up the lake a bit. We always want to take off into the wind, which means we're going to be taking off back towards the airport. So we'll go up here a ways to make sure we have adequate room. We also have to finish the pre-flight on the airplane. That involves doing a run-up.
Right.
So this will be a new sensation because the airplane's going to be moving while you do your run-up.
We have no brakes.
You'll need some right rudder.
Okay.
What we're going to do, Chris, we're going to run the power up just to 1800 on the RPM. You see the tack gauge?
Yeah.
And you'll have to hold the right rudder. What I want you to do is keep it aimed at the radio towers.
Okay.
And then at 1800 we'll go ahead and turn him all the way down. We don't need him right now.
Okay.
At 1800 we'll do the mags and the carburetor heat, which again is underneath the throttle.
Okay.
And then we'll cycle the propeller, that blue knob there. You squeeze the center button and pull it all the way out. Let the propeller drop in RPM. Once you see it drop, put it all the way back in.
Okay.
And that's our check. So go ahead and do that and I'll take you through it.
Okay.
Smooth and even up to 1800, holding right rudder.
1800.
And keep your eye outside in case we run into anybody. I'm going to check the mags. There's the left mag.
Okay, 100 RPM or so.
There's right mag.
About the same. Good.
Go ahead, pull the carburetor heat on.
Carb heat on.
Yep. Okay, got a drop. Go ahead and put it back up. Now grab that blue propeller knob and pull it all the way out, squeezing the back in. Okay. And one more time on prop. Good. That's a good check. Now, one of the things you're noticing is plowing like this, the water rudders are not very effective, are they?
Not too much.
And the reason I have the student do this is to show you that water rudders are for idle taxi only.
Okay.
Go ahead and put the throttle back to idle, and you'll find that they become much more effective.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right. We use a line across the lake here. You see the great big Quonset hut over here to the left, great big gaping door where they keep a boat.
Yep.
And the great huge condos directly off the right wing.
Gotcha.
I usually wait till I'm beyond those. That sort of is, in my mind, guarantees me I have plenty of room for my takeoff run when we're departing to the south.
Okay.
So we'll limp along here another minute or two. And okay. And so what I do is I talk about and I shut up. We talk about turn. Recite back to me what you were expecting the flow of events to be here as we do your first takeoff.
Okay. All right. So as we position ourselves for takeoff, I will give it full throttle, and we're going to be plowing, so the stick's going to be back, right?
Yep.
And the nose is going to be really high. It'll dip down a bit and then come back up and then dip down. At that point, we should pop it forward to get up on step.
Okay.
All right. And we're looking for 55, 60 knots. And we're going to let the plane take off by itself and instead of rotating. And once it takes off by itself, I'll probably give it a little bit of down nose attitude to keep it in ground effect. And I'll release, put the flaps back up first. Then I'm going to take bring the manifold pressure, the throttle, bring the throttle to 2,500 inches of manifold pressure.
Okay.
Then I'm going to turn the prop control about 14 times to get it at 25 as well.
Beautiful.
And we're going to climb at about 75 knots.
Perfect. The only thing I would suggest is it's one rise in the nose, one lowering, and when it rises the second time, that's when you pop that stick. And that all happens so fast you may not even be able to see the rising and falling of the nose. I'll help you. One thing I will do operationally for this airplane, Chris, take that propeller control lever now and give me 7 turns backwards right now as my preset. As the propeller tends to overspeed on this airplane.
Okay.
And that'll contain that.
All right.
Okay, we are past my imaginary line, so the last thing I want you to do, turn the volume back up on the radio.
Okay.
And we always, the way I do this is it's water rudders up and speak up. I get my clearance from the tower, and then I put my water rudders up. And you can turn around with water rudders down because it may be a moment here before we actually get our clearance. So turn to the left, please. And Renton Tower, it's float plane 186 off of Charlie on the water. We'd like a southbound slide and then a left-hand turn, Washington 1 West Channel.
Float plane 186 off of Charlie, Renton Tower, approved as requested. Report airborne, departure from the lake will be at your own risk.
Call airborne 186 Alpha Charlie. All right, water rudders up.
Water rudders up.
And full right rudder, full aft stick.
Full right rudder, full aft stick.
And actually, you were a little early on the rudder.
Sorry.
That was in anticipation of putting in full throttle. My bad. I should have said full throttle and feed the rudder in continuously.
Okay, now?
Right there, you can aim at those 2 cranes. All right, let's go. There's the rise, and a little drop, and a little rise. Pop that stick forward. Right there is the step. You can neutralize the rudders. There's the step. Take a mental picture of that. That's what you want to see on every takeoff and landing. And there's a beautiful takeoff. Hold that stick forward. Put a little forward trim in if you need it. Okay, watch the nose angle. And we need to make this left-hand turn. And we'll just get those turns up and around here for a moment. So we just have a turn towards the exit.
I did 7 turns to equal the 14. And, I just need to keep bringing it back.
Yep.
And we're at 25.
All right, there you go. I'm going to help you get situated here for our politics and local airspace. You have the airplane, Chris, climb up to 500 feet and indicate about 75 or so on the tower. Feels like it's a little out of trim. I need a little nose down trim. And as soon as you get yourself gathered, if you reach up there and turn that squelch knob down, we can get rid of the background noise. I think.
There we go.
Much better. Maybe turn up this a little bit. You want to keep your microphone right up against your lips, and that way it minimizes the amount of noise in here.
Okay.
And for my comfort,
Good morning.
turn the volume down a little bit.
On here?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Give me a right turn and fly right up the middle of the waterway here. You'll find it takes quite a bit of rudder. And that's probably a little too much. Right.
And we're at 500 feet.
Yeah, we'll level off, just shove the nose down.
All right.
And now you can ease that throttle back to 23 inches.
All right.
And then it takes 5 or 6 or 7 turns to get down to 2,300 RPM. There you go. You're flying a float plane.
Works for me. Oh, it's beautiful down there.
There's nothing better than this, and I've been doing this for 41 years, and I can tell you there's nothing better than flying floats.
I'm having so much better day than most of my friends right now.
I joke about even a lousy day flying floats is better than a good day at work. Then jump to the right a little bit more. We have a noise-sensitive kind of area on the left. There you go. Generally speaking, we try to fly right up the middle of these waterways. If anything, slightly displaced to the right in the center, because the protocol with other float pilots is they also will displace to the right. And that way we don't run into each other in the middle of the waterway. Isn't that something?
That seems about trim.
Yep, they're very stable. And I can't see any of the instruments. Sometimes the throttle creeps on this. So look at it every once in a while, make sure you still have 23 inches.
Looking good.
All right. And it'll take you a while. I'm on the rudders here, and I haven't felt you moving your feet much. It'll take you a while to get used to that. The airplane takes quite a bit more rudder input than the airplanes you're used to.
Yeah.
So everything we do is aileron and rudder together. That'll keep the back end of the airplane from trying to swap ends with the front. Do me a favor and push that flip-flop switch on the radio so it's got 22.9 in the active side.
22.9.
Alright. Alright, one of the things I do to get you accustomed to the rudder and aileron coupling, as I call it, is a thing called the Dutch roll.
Uh-huh.
While it sounds like a big, hairy maneuver, it's not really. What it is a banking of the wings, and then an unbanking of them to go the other direction before the heading of the airplane changes. I'll demonstrate. I have the airplane.
You're playing.
If you follow through with your feet on the rudder pedals, you can feel that I have to put a lot of rudder in to turn the airplane. The fact is, you're putting more rudder in than the aileron when it comes to turning.
Okay.
I'm going to aim at that great big barge that's dead ahead with a big crane.
Yep.
That's my target. Oh, there goes another flip plane. Yeah. And the idea of Dutch rolls, Chris, is I'm going to start a turn to the left here, aileron and rudder together, so follow me through on stick and rudder.
Gotcha.
But before the airplane turns, I'm going to reverse it and go the other way. And the idea is to roll the airplane left and right without the heading change. Okay? Here we go. I'm going to go to the left. And you want to keep your head straight with the airplane. Don't lean. You're leaning your head.
Oh, okay.
Keep your body and torso straight with the airplane. Okay? Just doing these general rocking maneuvers. Okay? And this is Dutch roll. The idea here is to let you get a handle on how much rudder it takes to steer the airplane.
Okay.
Go ahead and try some of those. And again, I trust you to make sure your body is staying straight with the airplane. It's very easy to lean your head, and that throws your perspective off. So pretend you got like a steel spike up inside your backbone so that you're not leaning your head at all. There you go. It's going to take a lot more rudder than you're putting in. So every time you put in left aileron, put in a big chunk of left rudder, and then a big chunk of right aileron. There you're getting the hang of it. It takes quite a lot more rudder movement than the airplanes you've been used to flying. You're getting the hang of it. There you go. Okay? Anytime you want to turn right, you got to push right rudder. Anytime you want to turn left, you got to push left rudder.
Okay.
Because if you just put ailerons in like you can on the Cessnas, the airplane will yaw around the corner.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't do a very nice job. Good. Give you a little more feel for the rudder. It needs more because of all the drag of the floats and the braces and all that.
Right.
Alright, this is the famous floating bridge. The I-520 has floating sections in it.
Yeah.
So what that means, I want you to put 22.7 now in the active side. I forgot to have you pre-pin it.
22.7.
And this is just our pre-agreed frequencies where everybody broadcasts what they're doing. So we can sort of keep an eye on each other while we're out here flying around. All right. Another thing we're consciously aware of, always in a floatplane, is we're always looking for indications of wind.
Okay. We look at the water for that.
Oh, there's lots of clues. These sailboats down here, you can look at the position of their sails.
Oh, I'm not a sailor.
You try to mechanically work it out. You can look at the streaks in the water.
Yeah.
The wind is generally out of the south, maybe a little more out of the southeast than it was down where we took off.
Okay.
More traffic, Super Cub Charlie, Kirkland, taking off to the south.
And he's right down here below us and to the left.
I see him. Okay. Hey, Charlie, Alpha Charlie's right above you here, just off Sand Point. And we'll be sliding, landing down to the south here, out of your way.
Okay, we see you. Thank you.
I'm going to turn left here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll let him go.
Okay.
And then we'll turn around and we'll, yeah, I think I'm going to go to my favorite landing spot is over here just north of Sand Point. And so give me about a 90-degree left turn, kind of up the middle of the channel here. There you go, you're getting that rudder coordination figured out. Takes a little while. Now that ball is not really accurate, so what I want you to do is sort of feel out where you feel like the airplane's going nice and smooth, and then note where the ball is, and that's the centering, okay?
Okay.
Also note that the artificial horizon is exactly that. It's completely artificial.
Yes.
Useless. Don't look at it.
All right.
All right, we're going to land right down here. And what do you think? Shall I demonstrate one first, or do you want to just try it raw?
No, you do one first for me, please.
Alrighty.
And I'll just keep my fingertips on the
Okay.
and my feet just.
I have the airplane.
It's your plane.
First thing we do, we set something like 900 turns. We don't need to mess with the throttle. I'm sorry, with propeller control. Because once we get low on power settings, it acts like a fixed disc propeller. I'm going to change my attitude here for about 80 at this point on the downwind.
Okay.
Reach up there and pull a little bit of trim aft for me. Just a little bit. Right. A little more. Right there's good. And put on 2 notches of flaps, please.
1.
Okay, you leave the button out, just
2.
let it click so you can count them. Now I'm looking for 75, and I can't see the airspeed. I'm just doing it by braille back here.
Yeah, you're at 75.
Okay. And I'm turning base. And now you can put full flaps on, and I'm going to be aiming 70. And I have add a little power because I want to go over here where it's a little smoother. 186 Alpha Charlie is landing just north of Sand Point, Lake Washington.
And Super Cub 0 Charlie, Charlie landing Sand Point, also Lake Washington.
Okay, we'll come over here like this.
90 Charlie, Charlie does have the southbound landing traffic in front.
And we've got 70 or so right down to the water. Right now, Chris, is where we do that first step where we flare a little. We carry a little bit of power. Now we're looking for that step, right? We're going to ease her down on the step, and the step is right there.
Got it. Okay.
Feel it lurch forward like that.
Yeah.
You're on the steps, and you pull the throttle off, and you ease the yoke back, or the stick back like this, which gets you off the step
Cool.
in expeditious fashion.
Excellent.
Okay?
All right.
All right, put the water rudder down.